here, Betty, if you want. Assessor's expense, yeah, it's contract. Yeah, we just signed it today, it was $7,000. Doesn't look to me, I don't know if you guys had a chance to review the expense report, it looks like everything's pretty much going right down the line.
Yeah.
3 or 4% either side of.
Yeah.
Haven't spent much on winter roads yet, so it's.
Yeah. I'll jinx it.
How long were you without power? At all?
It blinked. It blinked when it said so. Enough to mess up my alarm clock.
That's what we were off at my house, about 35 seconds, just enough so you had to reset all the digital
It
clock.
happened a couple of times though.
And,
Just once for us. Yeah.
but they ran the generator up on the hill for 50 hours straight.
Oh, really? Huh.
And when they finally came around, they said, go down to the corner and hit those. Ed said it happened in the fall. He said all they did was hit the breakers down on the corner by Dell's mother's house. Came right back on. But I went down Thanksgiving Day to Greenfield, and you get down on Route 2 there, just past the old duck pond, and the wires were stripped right off the poles.
Yeah. They're still kind of just hanging there. You see that? They haven't really fixed that yet.
I was working on that. Let me read these minutes. I got a copy of them.
Yeah, I put it in the folder somewhere. Right there, in your hand. Last page.
Big print.
Ron needed a while so we could see it.
Yeah, I can read this fine, thank you.
Well, I can't see what you're doing, so. It stuck right out now. How did that get so small? Computer changes. Yeah, but the computer's transfer shouldn't have done that. Did it? No. Oh, really? I think that's what it is.
Wayne, there's one over here.
I'll be there 2 weeks later. Yeah, probably.
Got the warrants all signed?
Yes.
Tom? Good. Let's move on to the minutes of November 17th. Ron, are you still reading through those?
I am, but I've got a few minor edits and ready to go through.
Okay, yeah. Only one I found so far is, I think, at the bottom of the first page where it says Carter reads into the record 2 response letters. I think it should say OML response letters. The rest of it, as far as I've gotten so far, and I'm almost to the, on the last page, looks to me like it's fine. Ron, you guys?
Yeah, under the library discussion on page 2 near the bottom, it's like, I'm gonna, probably an inch and a half off the bottom. There are a lot of drainage issues to deal with before expanding the parking lot. A thought that was talked about was maybe hooking to the town sewer. I think the next word should be "and" doing drainage work as opposed to the. And then Eisenberg agrees that the drainage is a huge issue. Not long ago, the library had damage caused by water coming in. And then I kind of made this next sentence much shorter. I said, Kohler is going to help out by first looking at the area and deeds, etc., period. Okay, because I wasn't going to make judgment to see if the project needed engineering or not. You know, that it's kind of like more hearsay, that last bit. Personally, I think any project that costs a fair bit of money should be done right and should have engineers. And I was kind of looking at it from a survey point of view. If there were all 4 survey markers there, you know, we might not need a survey, you know, or whatever. I was going to just look at it and report back to the board. But from an engineering point of view, if you're going to put pavement or you're going to do anything like that, I think to save $1, you end up spending $5 later with problems that come up from it. I always believe in having an engineer do things right. And they don't always do things right.
But it's good practice. It's like a lawyer, right? You get practice.
Then I had another quick one under the liaison reports at the end. I just, even though you had Poisson later, it said Olenek recently spoke with Tom from Highway, and I just say Tom Poisson. And I mean, just could be another time, 20 years you're looking at this thing trying to figure out who that is.
There's a bunch of us.
Yeah, that's right.
We pile on there, that same little paragraph. I reported that Tom walked the test wells with Ty and Bond. I did not walk with them.
Okay, recorded that.
And then at the end, can be scratched, it was Poisson walked. And then,
You want, don't you recorded that?
what's that?
Do you want it to say you reported that Tom walked, or you don't even care?
Sure, yeah, you can, yeah, that's fine, that's what happened. And then, bottom of page 4 in the new business paragraph,
Okay.
is it, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but third sentence,
Okay.
however, the opinions were that $3 million is a lot of money and it's
Inconceivable.
inconceivable.
You already fixed it?
Yeah, we already
Okay,
did.
all right.
Unperceivable.
Well, that
That's a
too,
good one.
and I'm sure it's that too, but. Sorry,
No, I already
grammar
found
foul.
it.
That's it. It was 2 hours and 17 minutes, and there were 19 things on the document list. Seems like we're well documented. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of November 17th as amended.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Beautiful. Okay. MJ Adams decided she didn't need to be here, but she could just have us sign the paperwork without talking about it?
Actually, the email, as I just opened up before the meeting, said that they're not actually ready for some of what they wanted to do, and we'll hope to schedule again soon. But there is some of the paperwork here to be signed, so.
So she and Bruce Hunter
I'm not going to,
after we
Be
set
here
aside,
tonight. Yeah,
after
we
we
did.
set aside all this time.
we did.
So this is another payment
Mhm,
for the Smith Road project
mhm.
in the amount of $6,150.
Who's it to? Time bond or to?
Time bomb.
Do they sign off on those, Mary? The Franklin County Housing?
They do.
Oh, yes.
They approve them, so
They
that
sign
we
off.
know they're within their budget, that's what I'm saying.
Actually, they come to us with their sign off.
With
They've already
FCH.
signed.
Right, good. Because they're supposed to be administering that job. That's part of the job.
Yeah, that's a big part.
See, this was, current, the amount is $40,000. They've already paid $19,880,
Okay.
which leaves $20,120. This is an additional $6,150. Is there any other paperwork from them on what they wanted to discuss? Their discussion was all on
It was,
Smith Road.
it's all on
Extension.
Smith Branch Road.
Bruce and MJ.
It was going to be Bruce, MJ, and Mike Petrin from Ty and Bond, the engineers. Apparently something wasn't ready to come discuss, so
Well, I'd set up a lot of time when we set the agenda,
right. And
Was it a last minute cancel, like today?
well, it was today that I got the email. It came at the end of the week, but I wasn't here, so. And there were so many emails I didn't get to until very
Sure.
late in the day, so
Yeah.
I didn't really have a chance. to-
holidays are like that.
Yep.
Holidays are like that, so we can move right into winter sidewalks, our old business. So we got through it with actually the town not spending any money on sidewalks. They've gotten cleared one way or the other. I was all set up to have breakfast with a couple of the local contractors on Wednesday, but I had other things with my wife that needed to be taken care of. She had a little procedure down at the hospital, so I had to go over there on that. With it starting to snow, everybody figured they were busy enough. I was trying to entice them with breakfast, but we'll get to it this week. But I think it's pretty well laid out. Mike Skalski has purchased a piece of equipment to do the side, really made to do that small tractor that we had for sale. So I think
With the
between a
4.5
couple of,
inch
it's got 4.5 foot
foot, that's what I meant.
snow blower on the perfect, so. I noticed he cleared some of them, like over in front of Pages here. He used his big tractor. And think you'd have some pretty, if that was all winter, especially when the ground was soft like it was this time, you'd have some ruts at the end of the year. But I mean, at one time, I don't think it was a bother,
That's
so
too bad.
it works all right, so.
So we'll hear back on that?
Yes, yeah, we'll have that. But it's not gonna snow again now.
That's it, we're done.
We're done. So, I wish I had more, I had every intention of
That's right.
buttoning it right together. Now, in the file, Mary tried to make up I wanted us to kind of
Go over your
go over a list of things that we wanted to do. And, let me get- remember in May or June, we kind of made a list of things that we wanted to get accomplished, and I'm not working this faster. Let me find it here, it was in some minutes. It was in May. Seventh. No, it wasn't that early. Figured I'd be able to zip this right up, so. But I did notice that what I'm getting at when I find it is that we've knocked quite a few of these off, which. Yeah, but that's not,
Didn't come from that list.
not really the same list.
I think that's 'cause you were signed. I don't get the date.
Okay. No, it's fine. So anyway, we got this written list here. We've made some pretty sizable dents in some of these things, wanting to get done. What are we looking at? I mean, the next 6 months, we're gonna be pretty busy with the budget, but we've gotta kind of pick out one or two things that, others that we'd really like to accomplish, I guess.
Well, let me just chime in just a few words to insert, Mary, or whoever
Absolutely,
that is.
yeah.
Under dam work, before the work contracted, it should be design drawings and permitting contracted, because we haven't contracted the actual repair or their recommendations or anything. Under the next one, retaining wall work, I'd put field retaining, just so that we know it's the field or the field retaining wall work.
Okay.
And before the word contracted, I would use in quotes, alternatives analysis.
Thank
Close
you.
the quotes. That's contracted and ongoing. So it's not the actual repair of the wall, which is the big item still. That was it, kind of just saying that.
That's helpful again because of the holidays. I didn't get to dig into the details, so any detail that anyone has that would be good for the list in terms of having the specifics down.
Well, the dam project, I mean, I feel that we've moved a long way on that in a relatively short period of time, but it is gonna be
It's
a
ongoing.
bigger,
Yeah.
a bigger
Stuff, yeah.
ongoing project.
Multi-year.
Yeah.
Where, and the retaining wall, we haven't got any reports back, or the trustees?
We haven't. The trustees have gone, Halden's gone before the trustees, and he's still working out some of the issues that they're facing with the IRS or whoever they're dealing with. But they're at the point that they have a proposal from them on different alternatives to redo that wall. So there's like 4 alternatives, you know, Gabion or those big concrete blocks or natural stone and stuff like that. And so at some point, they're gonna come to us because we're responsible for a portion of that wall. And I think the idea is to have kind of a homogeneous wall, go the whole length, you know, so we expect to hear from them. We're waiting on them.
And in the mail,
We don't have anything really to, when we're gonna expect something.
He's reported in on me, to me, and dealing with a lot of frustrations on his end. I shouldn't say that. He's not dealing with frustrations. He's dealing with responding to them as challenges, yeah. So he knows it's a hot issue, and he's wondering how he's going to pay for it, because there were some rough costs in that report, and he's asked his trustees to look at that report and get back to him. So I think he's forthcoming with it to the select board.
Well, if we had that information,
Yeah. Since the bulk of it is their responsibility, I don't want to push them, I don't want the tail wagging the mouse, you know, let them get back to us.
no, but we forwarded them some money for that.
Oh, we did, but that was for the analysis, for this analysis. And we own part
That
of
we,
it, you're right.
that we haven't got. I mean, regardless what the trustees do with theirs, the town
Absolutely,
will most likely need to do ours.
exactly, on that
So-
portion of that wall. So I would say give them another month or 2 to get back to us, and we'll go from there. Or, give them a call.
Maybe we should just,
Proceed without them. I think it does get to a point that you proceed without them, but I don't think that point's here now. I mean, he's being very diligent. Is that an invoice?
it's an invoice.
From who?
Came in today.
well, I opened
Today.
it today, it might have come in
Okay,
at the end of last week.
no, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, well, it's dated November 22nd. It's an invoice from the Field Board Incorporated.
To us. For the
The
remaining
Field Board
portion?
has made a second payment to Time Bond in the amount of $75.60 for the retaining wall study. As per our agreement with the Plows Town, please consider this correspondence as an invoice for a 1/3 share in the amount of $25.20.
Have you tied this to the original? I can't recall what the first invoice
The
was.
total fee authorized was $25,200. And so, previous billings was.
So we were a third of that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're, right, that's what we're on the hook for. No, for a third of it,
For a third of the 25.
$25,200.
So that's like $8,000 and change. And what did we pay last time? We made one invoice payment.
Yeah, this would be 1/3 share in the amount of, so this would be our second third.
So it was
So we paid $25.20.
Did we
and now
pay
we're-
$25.20?
Now we're paying $25.20 again, and our
Oh,
total
okay.
amount is gonna be $75.60.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, if there's a report, it would be nice for us to be able to review it.
Absolutely. Even before paying.
Contact, yep, absolutely, call them tomorrow and get a copy of the report, which I can scan in and email out
I
to
mean,
them.
if they have it, we need it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna move forward on that project regardless what they do.
Right. He sent me a copy of the report, which I did not respond to or bring forth here because it was a very preliminary one. So I think he should formally send it to the select board. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, if we're paying for it.
Paid for that, very good.
Okay. The thing that I thought I noticed is on here, and we have tried in fits and starts, but we still have quite a bit of work to do on those personnel policies and procedures
Yeah.
to get that done. And I'm trying to, if we start the budget process at the beginning of February, it gives us the month of January, you know, if we squeezed in a couple more meetings, I wonder if we couldn't at least get the meat part of that done.
Right.
January's tough for me because I have I believe the 21st, that school committee, the long-range planning thing on the 21st, and I'm doing a lot of lifting in that committee, so I know I'm going to be very, very busy with it. So
Now, I have a long-range planning committee meeting for the 17th of December.
It moved to the 21st. I said
Of
that
January.
Yes, 21st, third Wednesday of January, and it's tentatively set up for 6 to 9, but I haven't seen a agenda for that yet, or posting, I should say.
You know, I apologize for not updating my,
Yeah.
now I can
mentioned that last time.
put something else in that other time.
Not wanting to get off topic, but you know that on the 14th of January also is the Smith Branch Concom meeting, where it's a pretty important meeting to go to, where butters will be coming and talking about the look and feel of the retention wall. Lester suggested that we be there. We mentioned that last time too. So that's 1/14 at 7 p.m.
Month of January is filling up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's busy.
And the long-range planning, that's gonna be here.
No, that'll be at school.
That's Mohawk.
Yeah. That's with our state reps and all sorts.
All right, I'm sorry about that. And then you were just mentioning about December, the Concom?
No, that's actually 1/14, January 14th. It's the Wednesday before the long-range planning is the Smith Branch Road
Continuation of the.
continuation. Apparently the DEP's doing an audit on that project, and so there's some things coming up in that. And apparently Ty and Bond's gonna be there, and Concom, and some of others. We're concerned about the look and functionality of the retention wall.
Well, let's hope it takes into consideration the looks of the road when it stays in the road instead of going
Exactly.
down the hill every time it rains.
So that's a hearing, I believe. Is that right, Brian?
It's a continuation of the hearing.
But-
So, as far as this personnel board, I mean, we look at January. January calendars is, I mean, what do you kind of get filled up with some of these other meetings, but we have a select board meeting on the 12th and the 26th. Maybe, since we haven't heard anything from the personnel board, maybe if we give Mary some dates that might work, that we could approach. The last week, actually, that select board meeting on the 26th, I won't be able to attend. I'll be gone. So, between the long-range planning and the conservation commission, the week of the 5th, I have pretty much open.
Yeah, that's good to me.
Maybe
I'm looking for my calendar. Give me
Okay.
a second.
No.
I don't know what the heck it is. So you're saying January 5th?
The week of the 5th.
Yeah, I've Monday open. Now, what is, we have the 12th and the 26th is,
Correct.
so you want to say the 5th?
I was wondering, what does the 6th, I'm actually thinking maybe 5th and 7th, and or. If they want to do both of them, we could do that, or we could give them 2 dates to at least try to not let this
Open
fall
for that.
off the radar.
Works for me.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the calendar, what did you say?
Well, let's ask them about the 5th and or the 7th. I mean, if we can do 2 of them, they're up for that.
January.
And what about the 20th? That's a Tuesday right after Martin Luther King Day.
I have to work that night.
Impossible. That's the
Okay.
day before my 21st.
Okay.
That'll be
Yep, that's true.
crazy time for me.
Okay.
And that week before that would be tough too. After I could go.
If, how about, since I won't be here that entire week of the
Oh.
26th, but if you guys wanted to do anything on that,
I think that's an important enough thing that it should have all 3 select board members there. You contribute a lot to it.
well, I
That's my feeling. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's good.
don't know. I think it contributes a lot, but don't know if it's good. I like that. That's probably the truest words that have been spoken. All right, so
So,
far, all we've got is
5th and or 7th.
Other than as soon as possible, what are we shooting for if we're wrapping this up? We got an actual end.
Well, we're gonna have to speed it up at some point here to get through it. I really think those first 20 sections are the meat of it. I mean, when I read through it, I think we get past,
Yeah.
actually the section we skipped over, I still don't understand why we didn't go in order. But that section that we skipped over, once that gets taken care of, I think a lot of it is pretty straightforward, except somebody might look at it and say, maybe this should be, referred to different.
Right.
We changed some of the terms and so forth. This has dragged on for
I know.
a year and a half,
Yeah.
just on our desk, and it took 3 years to get to our desk.
I'm just wondering how aggressive we should start getting on more meetings for this. If we have an idea of, if we want it done by, if we're starting the budgeting process in February.
Well, why don't we get to the 5th and 7th and see how they feel about it, what their availability, ask them to bring their calendars with them so we don't have to bounce around like this and just put some more dates down.
And maybe after reviewing, one of the thoughts we could bring up at that point is, if maybe we'd make a subcommittee out of the 2, instead of having to join board, just they'll get to fine tune some of that stuff. I don't know, we all look at it through certainly different lenses.
But we're at the point now, I had thought that over the past few years it was that kind of joint effort anyways, because they had select board people on it. And that now it's ready for final approval and sign off by the select board, because ultimately we have to, and I kind of thought that was a process we were doing, is going through with it, fine tooth
Yeah.
comb, And the different people, so there's bound, the longer it drags out, the longer it's gonna take to get through it.
I would hope if we could get, what I'm kind of referring to as the meat of it, even though we don't have it 100%, if we get a solid block that we've all talked about and get the edits in, that at least we could send that solid block to Donna.
Yeah, I think two days will get us just about through it.
Well, How about the, what does the 13th look like?
And that's in the week before my thing, and I'm gonna be in trouble on that one.
Okay.
I won't be able to make it, but you guys are welcome to meet without me on that week.
There's no time in December to look at it, or people too busy?
Here we are.
Confirmed the meeting on the 8th. We're confirming the meeting on the 8th, so that's.
Oh, that's right, for
The joint.
no, the 8th is the meeting we talked about at the last minute, last meeting with broadband.
Right.
I didn't even have that on, so we're all confirmed on that.
And you guys know about the 10th, right?
And the 11th, I'm doing.
What's the 11th?
It's like,
Same thing, isn't it?
No. Well, there's two meetings. One of them is a roundtable about town administrator.
Yeah, you're right.
position. And then after that, there's the financial
Yeah.
meeting with NBI stuff, NBI and what it was.
Yeah, I wanted to make that one on the 11th, but I can't. I have an LRPC meeting.
Yeah, I've got a meeting in Marlboro, another meeting out in your neighborhood, right? Isn't that where you're?
Yeah. Not far.
So I got a night meeting out there that night, but the 10th is,
Is the FERCog.
is the FERCog meeting with the
Joe.
Joe is the gentleman that's supposed to be our wizard on trying to figure out how to finance it
Right.
and probably how it won't bankrupt us for all our residents to.
Like they hear it.
I mean, there was a little bit of a, I don't know if you saw the emails, but David was trying to, David Culp was saying, maybe we should meet with Joe on Monday by ourselves and then put off Matrix. I think if we got Matrix lined up, maybe we'll hear the two different proposals or have some idea. It will give us more questions to ask when we get to the FERCog. And actually, I do think sometimes when you got a common deal like that, you get some good ideas from what other towns, what the questions other communities are going to be asking
Right.
to make that work, so.
Looking the week of the 14th.
Well, that's, December's a very busy time for me. I'm maxed out. There's a lot of stuff. I'm looking at the 2 days before Christmas, is it okay? 23rd? I could do it. But it's crazy. I mean, I think a week here, a week there, let's try the 2 days in January and
Let's see if we can't get
And let's
that.
see if we can't plan then for February. I'm prepared to do it.
Maybe we could get a lot done if they would
Well, that's what I'm
meet
hoping.
with us on New Year's Eve.
There you go. I do that.
You might backslide a little bit.
My backside. Yeah, it's possible. Well, I think that'll be a good start. So that was one thing that I came up that I'd really like to see us, and if there's a way that we could have that buttoned up by the 1st of April, I think that would be,
Yeah.
would that be a reasonable goal?
I think so.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, it's been a long time, and as soon as we can get it off.
So maybe that would be a good thing when you send an email to Priscilla or the personnel board is saying that we've discussed it, and that would be our goal, is to try to get that. Anything else going down the list that you're thinking needs to be?
That's gonna take up a good amount of time.
Of course, first and foremost in my mind is always the budget, and you remember at the last meeting, Ted Murray was in, and we kind of talked about when we're gonna start, so we came up with a plan on that.
February.
Right?
Mhm.
It's to continue meeting, to block out every Monday in our schedule. One will be our regular select board meeting, and then the opposite one would be budget. And we're gonna start on, was it confirmed that we were gonna start on
This is,
second?
yep,
Groundhog Day.
Suppose it'll be done in 6 weeks.
sorry, it's not the 2nd, it's the 5th of January.
No, we're in February. We're not gonna start until February.
February, sorry. That's right. Yeah, it is the 2nd.
February 2nd.
So that would be the meeting, the budget meeting, and then select board meeting, budget meeting.
Harry, again? That's a Thursday I have in 2015, the 5th.
Is the second, no,
Yeah,
it's
that was
February
the
2nd.
2nd, I was looking at the wrong
Okay,
one.
so the 2nd is budget, and then every other on infinitum.
Right.
I do have a vacation scheduled. We'll go out to see my son in Oregon sometime in February, but I don't have it with me. We'll just, we'll work
Well,
around.
that meeting on the 2nd will really be
Kick
just
off.
getting a handle on it, figuring out what the revenues are,
Yeah, I'd like to
so
see it.
everybody can be on board with that. Doing some calculating there.
Yeah. Can you see the smoke going on over here?
Oh, no, I saw your eyes rolling back.
Pull back again, just kick your thumbs or
So seems like I've been doing a lot of the talking on this, and did you guys see anything else that you,
Well, you can say under Ashfield Lake invasives, and I would put, just to mark this point in time, fan war, just because there'll probably be another invasive tomorrow, and we should stay on top of that. And the GPS survey completed, comma, and then say eradication contracted. And if the ice stays off the lake, maybe that'll happen. I notice it's on in pieces of the lake, probably all the places where the fan board is.
it sounds to me like after Wednesday it should be off.
Nice,
It's gonna be a warm rain,
good.
not hot rain, but warm.
And I don't know about the committee handbook. There's an asterisk with committee handbook.
Meaning that you didn't do anything?
Yeah, I came into the select board with an idea, and much like what Ted did, in fact, I passed it on to Ted, was the town of Amherst has this handbook for appointed committees, and it goes a long way to talk to and about appointed committees, but at this point in my involvement in the select board, this isn't a priority. I was looking at it with different eyes back then, had a wide open slate, and I'm not so sure I would push this. I would hand it off. Mary has a copy, but I'd give a copy maybe to, the longest standing member on the board, because he's after me. But check it out. This is kind of
roll it into next year.
Huh?
You roll it into next year.
We can roll it into next year. We can do that. But I'd be willing to take that right off. Why have something on the list that is something we're not going to get to? I thought at the time it was a good idea, and I'm the only one standing at this point when we looked at that with those eyes.
Okay.
So I feel a lot on my plate these
Yeah.
days. If you're interested, let me know, and I'd be glad to send you the digital version of that too. But it's kind of neat. It talks about open meeting law, it talks about you know, all the things that seem to be pretty important to these appointed committees to keep them focused, you know.
So I'm gonna take that off.
I would take it
But
off.
we'll keep a folder with that in it, so
You
that
have
if
it.
at some point,
Yeah.
looks like the thing to
And
do.
we have permission to republish from them, which is a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
It's a Word file.
Back for
Yeah.
Todd, do you have anything?
it. No, if it's,
So I kind of wrote down budget, personnel manual, broadband, dam, and retaining wall. Those are really kind of the high priority things that we need to
Would you leave these on here, but emphasize those?
do. Yeah, I mean, that.
Maybe move them to the top of the list,
Put a
asterisks.
bold,
Yeah, yeah.
something.
And then put a date on it,
That's,
Mary, too, if you
that's,
would.
that's,
Yeah,
that's,
there was a date on it originally, I took it
Oh,
off for
okay.
tonight, but I will.
Because these priorities are
running
gonna change.
document. Yep,
well, if we can kind of agree that these are on the top of our list. I mean, and the budget's gonna, you know, tell us a lot of things.
Oh,
that-
absolutely.
But if we can kind of keep these and try to knock off a few of those as we can.
Is the sidewalk is still, you know, winter sidewalks is important, right? I mean, the
Right.
town meeting floor asked us to do that,
Right,
so.
but, yeah, I mean, we can, that was kind of ongoing, I think.
Okay.
I think at our next meeting, that'll be taken care of at
Good.
least for this season, so.
Okay.
And then the budget process will bring out a whole new bunch, and then after elections, you know, we'll do it again. It's helpful to me
Oh, I think
to
it's a
know
great
what
thing.
we're,
yeah, sure.
Focusing on, trying to keep on
you
the
know,
operator.
keep it progressive and try to get it taken care of, so.
Good,
Okay, thanks for
yeah.
going through
You're gonna
that.
send us a copy of that when you have it edited? Just
Yeah.
because I'll put it in the front of my book here and,
that's a great idea. Yep, I'll do that.
So really, we're gonna meet again. I'm gonna keep flipping my calendar back and forth. So we're gonna meet again on the 15th, and after we've had those two meetings next week, we gotta really kind of make some decisions on what we wanna do as far as that, you know, the letter of
Right,
support
exactly.
for
Yeah.
the Wired West deal. Right, because our next meeting is gonna be the 29th.
and we have a deadline on that.
Well,
Yeah.
They
End of
need,
December,
they
right?
need it by the end of December, that nobody would probably throw a fit if it wasn't until the 10th of January, but
Would it be a good idea to get that letter off the town council and ask what our exposure would be if we signed that and ended up not doing it? The reason I ask is, sign the thing, you know, kind of sign it, get it off our desk, and without the knowledge of doing something else. But then, what if we did something else with, say, for example, Matrix, but if it's a non-binding sort of thing, then let's do that. I mean, or we could wait till next week.
at our meeting, excuse me, the meeting I went to in New Salem, I think they gave us 2 or 3 different versions of that.
Oh, really? We only had one version.
I think we had at least 2 versions. I've got it in my packet at home. But, you know, it talked about that the select board would support, you know, is that support the project and to bring it forward. And I just guess I just had a problem with the wording saying, you know, that we were committing ourselves before we had another 5 months to accumulate the knowledge. I mean, maybe I was taking it too
I don't
literal.
know, maybe, I think I remember them talking about it being non-binding as well, so maybe in time for the 15th, we should have that, so we can put it on the agenda for the 15th, and be prepared at that point.
I can't believe that issue won't come up on the 10th at the FERCog meeting about the
Sure,
letter.
yeah.
Well, see, the whole thing hinges on these fixed costs. I brought up a question at our meeting. I mean, if assuming that there's 45 towns or however many towns there are, if they all hold hands and they're going to be cost sharing, they're leveraging all their town resources to lay out this network. Well, if there's only 10 that ultimately support it, then you know, those numbers are gonna change drastically. So what they're trying to do, Wired West, is say, how many of you are seriously entertaining the idea? And I don't know how
See,
we're
I
gonna
think it's-
pay for it, but I know that I am personally serious about it, even though I'll never have wires go to my off-grid house. I think it's something that the town's future depends on, I really do. Whether it's with Wired West or with Matrix or someone else, I'm very focused on this, you know, and they did say that if you don't sign it, and you are a second-tiered sort of town, it'll come eventually to you, but I think it's a,
You could end
Very,
up in the
very-
back of the bus.
yeah, exactly, back of the bus, and if we thought we were back of the bus, if we signed a letter, we'd be back of the bus, you know, however.
Chasing the bus.
Chasing. And I don't wanna, that's why I'm saying, if we got that letter to town council to ask about our exposure for the agenda, the 15th, or whatever it is, then we can make a calculated decision at that meeting and sign off. But we could always, at that meeting, say, have the chair sign, in our interest, based on town council's opinion, you know, and we can always do it that way.
Oh, I
too.
know.
Yeah, based on what we learn at the meetings next week, our opinion may change.
Right.
We may, on the 15th, be able to, when we go to town council, ask more pointed questions. I mean, we can't go
That's
knowing
true.
a hell of a lot less,
That's true.
going to the 15th.
Because we're meeting again before the end of December.
Right, we'll meet again on the 29th.
Right.
Which would fit their deadline.
So we will have had two meetings before the 15th. It seems appropriate.
Right.
Okay.
And we know that that's gonna be.
So do we just conclude that we're not having it on the agenda for the, not
It will probably be
Be an
the
agenda.
biggest thing on the 15th.
It
to
will
decide
be
whether or
agenda.
not
What we're gonna
to send
do,
it to town.
or to decide
Or to sign it.
what our situation is, or.
Right.
We're gonna have a lot of information to share that we
Right.
can't really talk and kick around with each other until then.
Right, okay.
Are you guys going to the 6 to 8 meeting on the 10th? Do you know what you're gonna do?
Yeah,
The FERCog one. The FERCog,
the 6 to 8 meet, the.
broadband
Right.
FERCog. There was a
that's-
2 to 4 one and there was a 6 to 8 one.
Right.
They were the same one.
Yeah,
This isn't
go to
the
the
next
6 to 8.
Yeah, I think I'm going to the 6 to 8 one too.
Yeah.
I'm working, so yeah, that's the early thing to get there.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because the next night is another meeting that I won't be able to make.
Yeah, the next night, that's what I was talking about earlier, the round table for talking about town administrator. And then, and that's 5:30 to
7.
7, and there's another one that's like 6:30 to, I can't remember the topic, but they overlap a little bit, and I'm gonna be in two places at once.
That's a town
I almost think
administrator.
it has to do with budgeting. I think the
I think
second.
it does. Town, regular finances, town finances, yeah.
So let me ask about the 8th if I can one more time. We're going to have 2 other committees there, FinCom and Tech Committee.
Correct.
And we're going to have an agenda that it's only dealing with Matrix, right?
Well, the suggestion has been made that for Matrix to come in and that it also be posted some general discussion that might not have to do with Matrix but with broadband.
Okay.
That was a request from the IT committee.
Good.
I mean, the general discussion's gonna follow anyway,
That'd be fine. 7 to 9 or 6 to 9?
and it's gonna be an open meeting.
7, I believe.
7
Okay.
Not I believe, I know. 7.
Originally it was 6 to 9 at some
We're
point.
spending a lot of time
There's
just
two
figuring out our calendars.
5:30 to
Oh,
7, and the other one's 6:30 to 8, total. They're all done.
okay, thanks.
All you need is another 30 days.
In the year or the month? Alright.
I can't read.
Anything else on that? You okay? Did a good job going over our calendars and figuring out where we need to be.
Good.
All right, let's go to new business. Let's get to the important stuff.
All right.
Let's issue some liquor licenses.
Okay.
Here you go. The first two are papers for town clerk. They are general, having to do with the renewal of liquor licenses. The four underneath are all liquor license renewals.
Why are these way up here?
Oh, just because they would cover this up. I wanted to make sure that I got everybody's, all three signatures on both pieces
So
of paper.
the first we have is to the members of the ABCC acting under the general laws today, Monday 21st. It says that our estimated resident population is 1,850 for Ashfield, and it needs to be signed by the licensing authority.
Who's it for?
Well, it's for the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission. This is just giving them an update on the community and that we are the licensing authority and we need to sign off on it. So, it says this estimate was made and voted upon by the undersigned at a meeting called for the purpose after due notice to each of the members of the time, place, purpose of said meeting, after investigation and ascertainment by us, all the facts, and after cooperative discussion and deliberation, the estimate is true to the best of our knowledge and belief. So as far as we know, that the town clerk took this from census information.
Okay.
The best of our knowledge.
And we always, it seems like last year we had 1,800, it was 1,800 and a few, so. And then the second page, it says how many licensees failed to renew for 2015, none. And we certify that. And then it says licensees disapproved by the city or town for 2015. She has none in there, so maybe we should go through the licenses first in case we. All right.
Good point.
All right, so here, license for alcoholic beverages, retail packaged goods store. License to expose, keep for sale, and to sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages. This is not to be drunk on the premises. I'm not trying to figure out if that's really good English, but it's in bold print on the license, not to be drunk on the premises. Take that down with it. So yes.
Drunk before you get there? Okay.
It's okay to be drunk out on the sidewalk, maybe, I don't know. Since there is no open container law in Ashfield.
That's right.
So this is for Lakeside Ventures Incorporating, doing business as Ashfield Neighbors, Philip F. Nolan, manager. So this is obviously a renewal.
And there were no complaints, concerns, or issues raised with regard to this license.
Is there any discussion about renewing
I'll make a
the
motion.
neighbors?
I make a motion that we accept the renewal of this license for Philip F. Nolan for the year 2015.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Insurance policy, everything's attached, and a copy of the check. Okay, the next one, license. License, alcoholic beverages, general on-premises license, license to expose, keep for sale, and to sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises. Lydian Enterprises Incorporating, doing business as Ashfield Lake House. Again, we got the insurance, we got all the application filled out, certificate of insurance, and with some things that needed to be caught up with as far as cleaning the grease from the exhaust system and those sorts of things. That documentation is all here, and a copy of the $600 check. We are
And-
making money.
And again, no complaints or incidents.
So there were some things that they were asked to comply with?
Right, I mean, it would
Public
be
health stuff.
public health or building inspection stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cleaning the grease from the.
Nothing that
system.
has been out of compliance with and
It just shows the bill and the certificate for that really is the. She was bordering on being late getting the application in,
Mm,
and the reason why she was making sure this was done.
gotcha.
And although the original party that was thinking of buying the place, that's fallen through,
Right.
that there is a pending. It
Yeah,
sounds like it's very close
Yeah.
somehow. But in the meantime, since we
Mhm.
don't have, as far as I know, we don't have any application for changing it.
Right. No.
So, wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve and sign the, is this an application?
Renewal?
Renewal of the general on-premise license to expose, keep, and sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages for Lydian Enterprises, DBA Ashfield Lake House.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
And I have heard that alcohol, people do drink it on premises. I've heard of that.
I can attest to it.
You can.
There are rare days that if somebody didn't know how, maybe I could show them. Sometimes on a Monday night after a select board meeting, that's been known to happen.
What did they say our population was in that other document?
1850.
Urgent. You're looking for a mayor before we know it.
All right, here's another one. Hits keep on coming. License, alcoholic beverages, general on-purpose license to expose, keep for sale, and to sell. Huh?
Premises.
To be drunk on the premises.
So, general on purpose license.
Oh, general on-premise license, I'm sorry. To be drunk on. This is for Mark D. Graves, June Heidemann, and Suzanne Connell, doing business as Edge Hill Golf Course at 278 Barnes Road. You know where that is.
So right there.
There's no issues. They've been
No
reported down
complaints,
there at
no
all.
incidents.
Got a certificate of insurance. That's all the rules that go with the application, and a clean inspection from the building inspector. Any concerns, any comments? Okay, I make a motion that we renew the 2015 alcoholic beverage license for Edge Hill Golf Course.
I second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Sign the second page. And the last one. Last one I've got here is license for alcoholic beverage, general on-premise license. License to expose, keep for sale, and to sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises to Elmer Store LLC.
Is that a renewal?
It's a renewal.
Oh,
They're
there
all-
are all renewals, again, no incidents or complaints.
Certificate of insurance. Check, copy of the check, it's always good to see. And a clean bill of health from the building inspector. Motion?
I make a motion to renew the license for 2015 general on-premise license to expose, keep for sale, or to sell for Elmer's Store LLC.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
What is our ratio, if our population is 1850, how many are we qualified to let out? There's a ratio, right?
Yeah,
And
we
it's
don't-
based on your population.
We don't,
Can we go more, or are we at the max?
we have more, we're not maxed. I don't
Okay.
know what the number is, but I know that we don't.
I think there's one more.
We should probably break down ourselves.
God, Ron keeps passing that back to me. It's like he'd be wiping the drool off my chin. All right, so now we're back to the letter that we started with, saying that we've renewed all the ones that have renewed, and we didn't fail to renew any, so.
So, just by...
If you didn't renew any, can you imagine
Yeah.
all the baloney you would take on New Year's Day?
You all said no motion for that, because we all signed it.
All right, next bit of business, Franklin Land Trust Town Common Boundaries issue. You have that letter or
Do a
email?
second, yep.
There's not a copy in our file.
There is
Just a
not,
read
but we got a copy last week.
last week.
Last week. Of this letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, trying to figure out, it brought to our attention that there's a possibility that beautiful stone wall that Gloria put up on the town common, that a portion of that may be over the boundary.
That's what the letter says.
That's what the letter says, that's what's being ascertained. And we may as well figure out what to do with it. Since we have a resident surveyor here,
Yeah, I would volunteer, I mean, these are all allegations. You know that if there's a land trust, they have steward who go out and monitor their properties, make sure there are no encroachments and stuff. And their people decided that there was an encroachment up there, possibly. And
possibly, and I mean,
they,
look at it.
they didn't have any surveyors doing it, but they're looking at it. So I would volunteer, if the board wishes, to meet with Gloria, talk to Gloria. From what this letter says, no formal survey was done on this initially. And we need to gather facts. I'd be glad to report back to this board. And ultimately, if there is an encroachment, we have to make a decision. I mean, that decision could be tear the wall down, or that decision could be live with it as long as she maintains it and is liable for it on our property.
You
And
haven't spoken to.
I have definitely not spoken to her without coming to this board. I have no authority to do that, so. I've just heard rumors out there.
Right.
Floating.
Well, I think it's not the highest priority on my list, but at the same time, I don't see any reason to put it off if it needs to be addressed. Although, you know, I imagine the surveying can be done without any problem in the snow. But I don't think we have to make a mad dash to address it, but if it's a problem, we should at least have things.
And maybe it's not a problem. Maybe the survey reveals that it's all under.
Right.
We should, and I'd only do that with board approval and report back to you during liaison portion of the meetings if that's appropriate.
I mean, there's two, you know, there's a hand sketch here, and I mean, I can see from here that the boundaries they have on there are different from that and the satellite photo, so.
Yeah. I know that a survey was done originally, way back. Be nice if we could get the same surveyor for relatively short money for Gloria.
And find those points.
Find those points, and if they're not there, to monument those points.
Right.
With a semi-permanent monument, so that.
Right, I heard that somebody had found a dime or
Yeah, I
something,
heard
and they were thinking that was a boundary, that somebody had placed a dime to,
You never know.
so, do you have a
No, I think
issue
that's
with if Ron wanted to
No, I
add
think it'd
that
be a
up?
good first step to follow up on this, absolutely, yeah.
And if it is a violation and she agrees to manage the wall, maintain the wall, and to hold us harmless for any liability associated, then a document, relatively simple document, gets drafted and goes to the registry of deeds.
Similar to what we did
It's
on
like a
Ron's
boundary
ad.
line agreement, but it's not a boundary line agreement. It's just an agreement.
Well, first we gotta find out
If there's a.
Right.
if there's a, if it's even there.
Right.
So, the land trust is involved because do they help fund the kind of tunnel purpose? I mean,
They hold the conservation.
Yeah.
They hold the concept of the CR on it? Okay.
Yeah.
They left the land trust when they bought it because they didn't want,
Right,
they didn't want a firehouse on it, they didn't.
yeah.
Wanted to stay open space. So I will initiate discussion with Gloria.
Is that a motion to,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to have Ron Kohler take a look at the disputed boundary in question and try to ascertain whether or not it really is,
come
the
up
stone wall is.
come up with a plan?
I'm up with a plan.
Yeah.
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous, thanks, Ron.
You're welcome.
Great. You've got a copy of this, so you don't.
I do. Can I report back to them that we're looking into this?
Yeah, I'll have
Franklin Lane Trust.
that'll put them at ease.
That will.
municipal technical assistance request. Did you guys take a look at, was that an email that we got?
Oh, yeah.
I gotta tell you, I told Mary to send it in an email and we'd look at it and come back and have it figured out. And I didn't end up looking at it.
Yeah, but I know how much I send you guys all the time, so.
This is a hard thing to do for 3 select board members to come to terms on. Yeah.
I did it, but frankly, I didn't give it its due time. I filled it out, but I should have probably taken maybe an hour or 2 on it, and I did. So if we wanted to, we have a deadline for this? The 10th?
Well, you know, you can spend a lot of time, and I think if we were a committee of 1, that somebody really would spend a lot of time at it, but when we're trying to, what did you have, what did you
Aren't they
have
just
for
asking-
priorities?
Aren't they just asking for our input, and then they're gonna put everything in aggregate and spit it out the other end?
Correct.
So it doesn't really matter what each one of us puts down, we just give it to them.
No, they're looking for 1 from our
They're
board.
looking for one.
One from our
board.
board, from our board,
You all
and then,
volunteers,
We're never gonna agree on
and
that.
then they will take 1 from every board,
Right.
And figure out what the priorities are.
and then come up with an aggregate.
And they do go after stuff. They get money and
Yeah.
they go after things that we collectively have agreed are priorities. So I think this is the first year that I understand the importance of this. The other
Okay.
2 years, it was like sign off, send it in, and then all of a sudden, whoa, they're spending money on that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's-
Well, we
Okay.
spent quite a bit of time on it 2 years ago, trying
Yeah.
to come up with something. So, I'm looking at it here, what, I see Ron's got his marked up, what'd you come up with? Under, let's do regional projects first.
Okay.
You wanna know just what I had as the highest priority, as number 1? or-
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than, the first one, Regional Highway Equipment Sharing Corp. I'm always interested in how we can save money on that end of things, you know?
I don't know, what, how about you,
I
Tom?
had that as a 3.
See, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just keep going. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
hit on one that we all agree with. Shared EMD, I had 1.
We already do that, don't we? Oh, no, that's.
No, we have a mutual agreement.
Well, I have 5
You had 2 there.
Okay. I'm just going down with the ones right now.
Uh-huh.
Municipal official training workshops, 1.
there. I had 2, so.
Okay, we're getting close.
Yeah.
Opioid task
That
force?
I definitely feel is a 1.
Which one, the opioid?
The municipal training workshop.
Oh, we got 2 who say
I
it's
could
a
be
1.
convinced, I could be convinced.
So there's a 1.
All right.
There's a 1.
Alright.
So we should check that off here or something like that. I can't say that the opioid, opiate task force, I think was a 1. I see that as a huge problem out there and just need to get our.
You did put that as a 1?
I did. The sheriff's department, everyone's all over it. I mean, it's getting a lot of attention. And, but anyways, if you didn't, that's okay. Shared ambulance service, I had that as a 1. Senior center needs assessment, I had as a 1.
2. I could be convinced.
You know, what I think we gotta do is have the chair fill this out. And we would just support that. And I did have one down here, and under other shared services that I have recently come to believe in, is FRTA expansion. And senior transportation. They're talking, I've spoken to the seniors.
Where's that one?
No, it's just one I've added under other.
Oh.
They're talking about trying to get a 3rd bus
Okay.
down at the senior center, and I know there are a lot of unmet needs for seniors as far as shopping and medical appointments, and I've seen the lists that say how many calls they've had and how many they've been able to respond to, and it makes me nervous with our senior population aging
Growing,
more and
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that needs to be added there,
Yeah.
personally. I added that to the next one under planning projects too. But
So you added 1 for
FRTA, senior,
That makes sense for you,
We've got to keep looking.
for something.
I don't think
senior
we're desperate yet.
transportation
We've
expansion.
got to look ahead.
So So I don't necessarily think that it has to happen for all people. I'm not discriminating against younger people, I'm just saying that I see a real need in people who no longer can drive. In being able to, or allowed to drive, to be able to meet some of their basic needs.
So what did you have, if you went down through there?
What were your needs?
The other ones that were higher priority, health district expansion, senior center needs assessment, did you have that? Is that one of the ones you had?
I had that as a 1.
I had that as a 2, but I
Okay.
convinced to go up because we still haven't resolved where that's gonna go, have we?
Oh, no, that's enough, that needs to be.
I was disappointed when they said that they didn't think it would fit well with the school.
Yeah, it would have made sense, but it didn't make sense.
Wow, I don't know, a lot of empty space.
The,
I
I
can't
think
recognize
that
you.
my problem with that
Mhm.
is that this is a county deal, where our senior center is more of a regional deal. I mean, I certainly, for the, what is it, 4 towns, 5 towns?
3 towns right now.
That are in the
Senior
senior
center.
9 towns in the area that we are trying to serve, 3 are members.
members. For everybody to get along, I just can't imagine if you tried to do something in the whole county, how little would get done. How much effort would be put in and how little might get done. And so I guess that it becomes a lower priority for me, just because I don't think that's really something that the county needs to, that could help us with.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Other high priority items, these are all 2s. Concom training, staffing needs assessment, regional response plan for dam failure.
I had that as a 2.
Let's see.
What did you have as a 5?
The shared EMD, shared school resource officer. This here says it's now law in all schools. That's if you appropriate the money. That's what the law says. Not that you have to do it. It's subject to appropriation. Shared ambulance service feasibility study was a 5. I had cooperative bid for elevator maintenance was a 4. Regional fire assistance was a 4. Everything else is down the middle.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin heard that, Mr. Chair, if you want to pull something together that represents the best interest of the select board.
Okay. Oh, no,
I'd like to
that's
make
fine.
that motion that you do that.
The regional projects.
Huh? But regional and planning.
Well, I haven't heard what you had down for planning.
Well, I would submit to you my sheet and you can look at it at your leisure.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
So there's a motion, but I didn't hear a second.
No.
A second.
Well, then, I am gonna ask, if you wanna do that, I'm gonna ask for a little discussion
Sure.
on the planning. On just why you, the ones that you marked number 1 anyway, 1s and 2s, why they were up on the list.
One affordable housing plan I had up there. I think it's something that we always need to address. Under 40B, if a town doesn't hit their quota, the developer can come in and basically override a lot of zoning and stuff. And I think it's something we have to pay attention to at some point. Zoning bylaws I had as a 2, that was a high priority. Affordable housing task force, I had as a 1. Gas pipeline technical assistance, I'm going to refer to our town.
Well, so, no, go back, on zoning bylaws,
Yeah.
so what type of help would you look for the county or for FERCog to do that the town and our, what I always consider a pretty active planning board for the size of our town, can't do?
Well, it is pretty
Our problem always in Ashfield, seems to me, is that the planning board will put in a year coming up with something and then the town won't.
Won't allow them to.
You know, it still needs to be voted.
You know, you have a good point there.
Having
heard what you said.
And
I agree.
I'm just playing,
So I take
maybe
that off the mix.
maybe I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, but it's a good point. so I'm gonna make that a 4.
I think lead and clean energy are kind of specialized planning topics, but I had it for as a 4 anyway, so.
Okay, so we're together on that. The gas pipeline siting technical assistance, who knows where that's gonna go, the whole pipeline issue, and I think that crosses a lot of our frontiers.
Yeah.
So
What
it
did
makes
you have?
sense to me
Got
that
a
we,
1 there?
oh yeah, I think that's a strong one. I mean, the town has spoken on that, so I'd be remiss not saying something about it. And then I had the FRTA, Senior Transportation Expansion as a planning project, because I think there's a lot that needs to go into data as to what that looks like, what is the real need. My discussions with Wayne,
On which one?
that's one I added,
Oh,
FRTA,
yeah, same
Senior
thing.
Transportation Expansion. And I think that's, just because there's only 3 people in the senior center, that it could still be a good planning project countywide. And I think more people might join the senior center if more needs were being met and so on and so forth. It's something that's in the forefront of my mind now, and I am real serious about it. So I think we could, that's a priority for me.
Tom, what do you have?
The lowest scores I gave to baseline municipal tree inventory.
Yes.
Yeah,
I gave a low one for that.
Regional Historic Preservation Digital Inventory Training. I did have Affordable Housing Task Force as a low score. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Economic Development Plans Creation or Update of Chapter for Town Master Plan. Well, our town doesn't have a master plan that I'm aware of, and perhaps we should, but we don't. And
Now, there is a plan that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, that's here. That's the,
Not the
So-
senior housing, no.
no, open space and recreation.
Open space.
yeah, that's getting dated, isn't it? I had that as a higher priority, but I'm biased towards that. I have a personal bias towards that.
What?
Which
Open
one?
space and recreational planning.
A bias in favor
In
of.
favor of
Well,
Yeah.
that actually, the fact that we didn't have that got in the way of getting some grants.
that.
So it's something that I was hoping Alan Rice would button up, that he's had some issues with his father and so on and so forth that seem to be.
Well, who's he working with on that? He's been-
Dodson was the ones that submitted, the plan was 99.9% complete originally, and we just had to make some red line edits. This was a number of years ago, I'm gonna guess, 5 years ago. No, it was
No,
significant.
it's 5,
And then
6.
A year or 2 ago, we were given the opportunity to update it.
Came up
And,
when we were updating the hazard mitigation.
yeah, he had met with committees and everything for their input on it. And all they had to do was basically wrap it up and send it in. But he hasn't done that yet. So,
And I know he's been pretty tight up with the planning board to set it up going on too, so he's,
Why don't-
I'll check with him.
why don't you send him a nice email and say that it came up in discussion and
what is the status?
Yeah.
I would love to see that and a lot of these other things that have been going on over the last decade and a half in town, all incorporated into an up-to-date master plan.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's something that I think we need, but with everything else that we've had going on, I just haven't even dared broach the subject.
It's a huge effort.
It's
And
gigantic.
it's a beautiful plan submittal, I've
Yeah.
seen it, you know.
I mean, I attended some of the meetings and presentations down in Greenfield when they did their sustainable master plan a year ago or whenever it was, and I think that group did a fantastic job, and it'd be wonderful to see the town do something like that, but it's a huge undertaking. Well, maybe someday.
But this is the first part of it, you know, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
There's a copy of it over at Dodson's place that they'd be glad to share with you if you want to go and look at it. Has a lot of 11 by 17s, and the digital one is just
See, I think the problem is that a lot of times is the presentation. We gotta find something to call it besides a master plan, you know, that everybody feels like they're being told.
I'm still
exactly
talking about
what
the
to do.
open space plan.
No, but,
Right. Well, that's
There's
a good
gotta
call.
be-
I mean,
but that, just like when you go to town meeting with a new bylaw,
Yeah.
and everybody's gonna
Right.
be told exactly what they can and can't do and what rights they do and don't have.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is a guidance document. That's what it is. That you strive to achieve.
I think a lot of it is, you know, if words had meanings.
Right.
So, no, that's good. That's good. So there was a motion and a second.
And seconded.
So if I
Yeah, a lot of
take your, a lot of discussion. And, is there any other discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You want these?
Sure.
You understand this here? FITA, Senior Transportation Expansions.
Mary will be able to figure that out without a bit of problem. She's been taking copious notes.
Thank you.
Because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna fill this out before I leave tonight, and I'm gonna hand it all to Mary.
Good.
Let's not fool each other. Alright? Good. So I'll just keep that so I can take care of that. Seems like we're having a lot of discussion tonight, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Talking about grants, funds, the upcoming town projects, I mean, one of the things, we're doing all this engineering for the dam and for the retaining wall and all of that, but we don't have the first really good clue on where we're gonna be able to get those funds. I mean, there's gonna be more of these types of projects where we're gonna be looking for funding. And I feel guilty. I feel a little guilty, but Ron, you do such a great job at this no, I think the board, you know, what your thoughts are, but I'd like to kind of give you a little more free rein if you see something that we need to apply to or that sort of thing, to feel free to jump on those. I don't know what your thoughts are. I mean, you've brought it to our attention several times, you know, that we're gonna have to come up with some money and find out where these funds are.
Well, the thing that I find most successful when I review grants from other towns and so on and so forth is having a shovel-ready project. That's what we've agreed to do. Let's talk about the lake only for now. So we're going to design construction drawings and permitting on our repair work at the dam. And they're gonna be wrapping that up hopefully sometime soon. So it was my intention, as soon as we have that document in hand, because it's silly to do it before the document is done, to pursue grants, saying we're shovel ready, we're looking for grants. And there's some good ones out there. You can see them in the paper, see what Conway's done with a bunch of grants. And the first time they were
Boy, that
rejected.
turned into a hell of a project.
It
didn't
is, it is.
The ball field.
The ball field.
Now, that involves some of the, I won't say mass historic, I don't know what the name of that is, somewhat controversial funding source, but,
It's not controversial, it's something that all towns should do.
no, but it was controversial in our town last
Oh,
time
yeah.
it was brought up.
It's controversial in every town that's brought up.
Yeah,
But
but
some of them approve it.
that supplemented their town and got them their ball field and the swimming hole and all that sort of stuff. Plus, a huge grant for $1 million from
You're talking about
Mass
CPA?
Works.
the
Yes.
Preservation?
Community Preservation
Preservation
Act.
Act.
Yeah, and I can remember, because I came and listened and spoke, I think. I can't even remember which side I was on that one. But I waver on both sides of the line on that one. I'm confused as to that, but I see other towns taking advantage of it. nonetheless, even without the CPA in there, the Mass Works grant was a wonderful gift, $1 million, you know, in the 990, something like that. In the first year, they weren't shovel-ready, the second year they were, that's when they got the grant. So, and you look around, there's a number of other towns around, and that same grant, maybe could qualify the ball, you know, the retention wall, but I'm focused right now on the dam. The thing is I haven't formally accepted the idea of renewing my select board position. I would need to have some title, some authority, I guess is the better word, from the select board to pursue those grants in the event that I'm not a selectman. I'd report back and have you guys sign those, but for me just to do it as Joe Citizen would be different than as like a commissioner or something like that, of that very short period of time, but in the interest of the town to be able to have the authority to go after these grants would be very enabling for me to pursue them as an individual. So I would do it if...
I guess what I'm concerned about is that, as far as I can tell, you've acted exactly as we would expect as far as a member of the board, but maybe not feeling free enough to dive in to get into the weeds on it, on some of these grants and so forth. In other words, you know, if we meet every 2 weeks and something pops up and you want to be investigating it before something else comes up,
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to have that type of authority.
No,
to
that would
just,
be great. That'd be great. I don't know.
I mean, I certainly don't have time to do it.
I would look to support that effort regardless of when, looking for something.
As far as being able to say that I mean, I certainly can't guarantee what votes another board's going to have.
Right.
You know, if you don't happen to be on the board after the first Saturday of May, you know, on what that board would want. But I really appreciate any effort that you wanted to put in, and I know you're real good about bringing it to us, but I wonder, especially with projects like the dam,
Yeah.
that are going to be expensive projects, to wait until we get it all done before we're even looking for the money. I think that's going to put us behind the 8 ball.
Oh, I totally agree.
Because the design and the construction estimates and that sort of thing, I almost guarantee we'll get about 14 days before or after a round of grants is available or coming to an end. So
I guess I will pursue opportunities, report back to this board while I'm a member of this board and the liaison portion of the board as things occur. But you'll have to figure out in the event after that week in May how I will do that, how I will perform, because
you're pretty well convinced that you won't be a member of the board.
my wife is pretty well.
So she's the one.
Yeah, we always have to blame someone, right? But either or, it
That's
doesn't
right.
matter.
That's right.
I still have the interest in helping the town in this specific area, doing some heavy lifting, doing some traveling, doing whatever I can to get money to help the town. And to do that in an independent sort of way, reporting to the select board on it. Looking for your signatures
Right,
on
no,
certain
I mean,
things.
certainly we wouldn't be giving you authority to
Of
go and
course not.
sign us up for a bunch of money, but
I
to go
can't
and
do
do
that.
all the research and do that sort of thing.
And get
I
it
think
before you.
Yeah, no, if you're
Yeah,
willing to.
absolutely.
So, yeah, I'll make a motion to authorize. Do we? Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Make an to authorize Ron to research and come back to us and on grant opportunities, funding opportunities for the lake and other projects. You know, feel free to do that as you see them come up.
The lake is the most pressing one, so that'll be getting most of my attention.
No, that'd be fine. But you may trip upon another
I
one
might.
while you're there, right?
True.
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Vote for it.
Good, have somebody really spending some time looking for some money, I think that's a... You look for it, and then during budget time, we'll all figure out how to spend it.
Exactly.
Okay. A town common use application from the Winter Solstice Community Committee, the WSCC.
Which is not the town committee,
I was
obviously.
gonna just ask that question.
No, that's their title themselves.
Heather Gray. So this is when they make the little bonfire out here. And
Yeah.
Will entertainment be provided? Yes. If yes, could noise from entertainment carry to the property of the neighbors? Yes. Singing with one instrument. Probably nobody will complain as long as I'm not there. So they've done this the last several years.
Many years, I'd say at least 5 or 6.
No. So the police chief and the fire chief don't have any problem with it.
No.
They filled out everything else. Is there any discussion? Sometimes you go by there, it's a little scary. You know, they come with all
I actually
costumes.
I meant to go,
They
but-
come with these costumes and so forth.
Horns,
Oh,
deer
yeah.
horns
I
and
mean, I
stuff.
kind of jumped back the first one. Huh? The fire's nice.
Yeah.
Especially
Kids
when
like
it's cold.
it. It's fun.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the application for a special event on the town common for the solstice. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. I mean, yeah, you trip upon that and dark, you know, it's dark anyway and all this stuff.
After
going on.
coming drunk from the lake.
That's right.
No, at least 4 miles before that, how much?
This is only 20 days away. Okay, very good, that's done.
Yeah, 'cause they give me
So we've had a lot of good discussion. Is there anything left on liaison reports?
it's done.
I don't have anything this week.
I do have a question, sir. Well, maybe it comes under the mail, and it relates to a letter to Governor Charlie Baker. Through
Governor-elect.
Oh, yeah.
I do have that in the mail.
Okay, so let's wait till the mail section on that.
Anything else? Nothing else?
No, I have nothing to report. We did, I'll just share with you quickly that we had some issues with the dam. We were getting some pretty significant spouting of the front of the dam. When I say spouting, I mean, you know,
That was great to have those email, the pictures on the email.
that was somewhat helpful. But a lot of finger crossing there. And after the
A lot of sleepless nights.
after the leaves went over the dam,
Mhm.
thanks by Tommy, the highway department, the water level subsided by 6 inches, and that spouting went away. So it's a function of hydraulic pressure or something like that. We need to do some work on the dam, you know, we all know that, and get some membranes in there or whatever the engineers tell us. So that's something that needs attending to. But it was interesting to see the connection
So
between
we
the water
made that
level.
decision when they were here to go back and to
Oh, yeah.
evaluate that.
We're waiting on them. I mean, they're not waiting on us anymore. So we went with our choice, and they're finishing their design drawings. They're going.
What do you think about wasn't that their assumption that the water, because the water level was higher, it was coming in from into the spillway, infiltrating from above and then down through and shooting out? Or because the additional pressure of that additional 6 inches of water on the body of the lake was forcing it through a greater force through existing?
I'm not that kind of an engineer,
I know,
but I don't know if you remember, but they were talking about the gate column, where the
Mhm.
gate valve is.
Right.
And they were saying there was a noise, you could hear water falling down in there, and you shouldn't hear water falling down there.
Yeah.
So it's my supposition that if the water goes up on the dam enough,
Mhm.
that because the leaves are blocking it, that water's going down on the sides of that gate column, coming up out of the gate valve box. You've seen the water come right out of it.
Sure.
And it's leaking down behind the masonry and spouting out. So that
Yeah, but that was a hell of a lot more than a leak.
no, that was a spout. Whatever. I don't know what you would call. I didn't get a 5-gallon pail and measure gallons per minute. But when that went down, the 6 inches, it wasn't around that gate structure anymore. It didn't even come touching it. It didn't even come close. So it couldn't spill down inside behind
Okay.
there. So I think there's a direct correlation there. I think they'll say that. They're the qualified ones. But
Well, what we left them with was to figure that, to engineer it, and maybe come up with the upwater, the upstream portion of the dam to put a liner in there or something, right?
yeah, they're going to have to either figure a liner or an injection method. You know, I mean, they're going to come up with recommendations for us. It'll be interesting. And a lot of that is going to be exploratory because they don't know until they move stuff out of there what their final recommendation is.
But what we've sent them away with is we wanted to talk about doing the good job, not the
Right.
regular.
That's right.
Right.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I like
The
that.
good job, not the regular.
Right.
Start chewing gum right
And save it.
now. Save it.
We're gonna save it.
Save it up. Bedpost.
But
whatever it
bedpost.
happens to be. Check the bottoms, all the
Check the-
desks at school. Collect it.
Collect
Collect
it.
it.
There you go.
You need to do something.
Anything else, Ron?
That's all I have to report.
Anything from the highway
No.
or? Good. The roads were all in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Did you see that we had a email
Yes,
from Doug
yeah.
Field
I
about?
did. Emergency response stuff.
Mhm.
They certainly won't want a lot of people out of power after January 1st when the rates go up 30%, right? Or was it 27%?
38%, I thought.
Huh?
38%.
Oh, I thought it was 28 or 30.
29,
Oh,
somewhere around
okay.
there for Wamiko. National Grid was higher,
38.
30 some odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go off grid, guys.
Solarized mass, can't come fast enough. The Solarized mass project.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the mail.
All right, so the first one you mentioned, which is the snowstorm November 26th, the report on that. Just some comment on that.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You mentioned already the snowstorm,
Mhm.
the note from Doug and the emergency response. This is the letter, this is from Jim Cutler, our energy manager.
We've all got emails on this.
Right, making arguments as to why a letter, why he'd like to see the town's support with a letter. The package that's going to be sent to Governor-elect Baker advocating for continued support for Mass Solar. And actually, on the...
I'm totally on board with this, doing this.
Oh, I am too. I mean, that program's gonna be meaningless without the funding. It really is. I mean, and the state's looking for
Any place to cut.
any place to cut, and this is not one that I wanna see cut personally. And the town is pursuing the solarized mass thing, so we need it. We need some horsepower back there.
Yeah.
And before, when we talked about this, it was sending it to all the potential governors, right? And we said, that field's too big, why don't we wait?
And so, because we're right at the deadline, I did two things. One, I copied the letter that is suggested on town letterhead, you could sign it, and/or I spoke to somebody at the office there, and they said if the board voted to support that after the meeting, I could just send the names of the select board, and they would be added to the package they're putting together, the letter that they're sending. And the letter they're sending is basically the one you have there.
Dear Governor-elect Baker. So you don't even need to send a letter, you can just say,
Send,
we're
got the
okay
name,
with it.
send the email with the names of the people who voted.
So if we voted to
voted in
do
favor.
this, we'd say we instead of even putting in the mail
Yeah.
because it's due today.
And as you can see, it's not even formatted.
Yeah.
Well, I would make a motion that we agree to throw our voices of support behind this effort to continue developing solar and renewable energy in Massachusetts via this letter to Governor Baker, this
And his
organization's
administration.
letter.
Would you accept a friendly amendment of either or, the hot link that was provided, that we could put it there? Because this is due December 1st, and I don't know if it would have to wait if you put it in the mail today, that you would if you hit the hot link.
I think I would agree to
Would you?
a friendly
Okay.
amendment as such.
Okay,
So there's a motion and a second.
yeah,
Any other
Motion,
discussion?
no second yet.
I'll second it.
Well,
Hey,
second,
The
the
friendly
friendly amendment. It's the friendly amendment second. Not everybody recognizes that. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous. Okay, what else you got for us, Mary?
So Mary, it might, along those lines, it might be a good idea, since we authorized that, to have it signed also for the file.
Go right ahead, that would be good.
And that way we have it as a record.
Sure. And why don't you take one of those that you have? I have it in here, it must be stuck to something.
Mine has holes in it. This doesn't. You want to sign that? No.
What's that, sign this one?
And you'll also do the hot link?
I'll do that tonight.
Like that. At that second meeting we were talking about on December 11th, Select Board Essentials Workshop, Transparency and Cooperation in School Budgeting.
I love that.
Transparency and cooperation are not always mutually exclusive of each other. Or maybe they are in practice. What else do we have, Mary?
Quick question on this one, people going to respond to the 10th and the 11th themselves, want me to respond?
I'm
I may
out
have
for the-
already. I may have
Okay,
already.
great.
If not, I'll take care of it.
And this is also 10th and 11th,
This is the same meeting on the 10th that we've been talking about.
yep.
This is from
To the
MBI.
floor,
Yeah, so right, the 2 to 4 session or the 6 to 8 session. Food served at 5:45.
Guess which one I'm going to.
Actually, the 2 to 4 might be a saner one because you don't have everyone there to make it.
And this is a copy to the select board from the planning board of their cell phone application, cell phone tower application decision.
Yeah, just the application of industrial tower and wireless for a special permit for a cell tower on 1450 Spruce Corner Road. The record title standing in the name of Leonard H. Roberts, 1542 Spruce Corner Road. And it goes to the page in the book, and they granted a special permit. It certifies all that. It's a majority opinion. I think it was actually a unanimous opinion. But they're gonna put it up, it's gonna be, they asked for 150 and it's gonna be 120, I believe.
That's right.
And it's gonna be camouflage, so nobody will be able to tell what it is.
You won't see that 150 foot, 125 foot tree.
It's
Okay.
a one mast tree that the colonists did not get.
Yeah, exactly. No arrow in it, no. King's arrow.
And there's a few other things. There's not gonna be exterior storage of equipment. If you want to.
I'm sorry?
The envelope for the word.
If you want to read everything that went into it, it's here for you to read.
Thank you.
Does anybody want me to scan it and send it to them?
I'm all set.
And then this,
But I'm amazed, I went to a couple of the meetings, stood in the back of the room, and it is kind of fun to change your perspective sitting in the back of them. But they spend a lot of time and listen to a lot
It's a
of,
hard working committee.
and
Yeah.
the planning board does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Department of Veteran Services. Dear Select Board, on behalf of the town of Greenfield, we welcome you to the newly formed Upper Pioneer Veteran Service District. Although we do not officially open until July 1st of 15, there are many items that we need to complete before that date. In the upcoming months, our staff will be contacting your town's administration for information to make the transition as easy as possible. I've listed some of the items below that we'll be contacting you about. Did you see anything on here that was, I mean, they want email
straightforward, yeah.
email addresses, discussions with tax collectors, accountants, if we have Wi-Fi access, just kind of generally making sure their files are up to date and
Yeah.
they know what's going on, so. I'd be glad to get our money and mix with their own. Huh? That's true. Anything else? That's it. That's it.
So,
Good with that. There's nothing that wasn't reasonably anticipated. I do love that sign, by the way, on the stage. They put up two signs.
No. When?
No, there's one sign that shows you that there's a stop sign ahead, and then you get to the stop sign.
No, there isn't. Is there?
You don't go down Stage Road.
Not often.
You should ask your
It's going
kids.
pretty fast.
But you know, yeah, I fly right by it, right? It's not flashing. But it's only in one direction, coming from my house. And I'm taking that a little bit personally, maybe.
Why?
I don't know, shouldn't it be on both sides of the intersection? You coming this way, you gotta stop, coming this way, you gotta stop, right?
Well, I don't know.
You should
It's
take it
only on one
personally, I
side.
think.
Yeah.
You should.
Well, I think the problem is coming from your direction.
Yeah,
You're blind as a bat when you come by the old schoolhouse, and then you got Haskins and the
Yeah.
hill right there. And
Yeah.
I think there's two trees right there. You are absolutely blind as a bat. When you're coming from the other direction, you're on the other side of the street. You can see up the hill. I mean,
stop optional.
it's
Optional stop. When the snow is piled 20 feet high, you can't see from either side.
well, that's true, but everybody else.
But then
But that's
the
fine.
stop sign will be under the snowbank too, so it wouldn't matter. Yeah, I did see it.
You can't be too offended if you haven't even seen it.
I saw it once. I saw it once. I don't go that way very often. Yeah, I don't go that way very often.
and just to clarify a small point, you said nothing 48 hours, not known 48 hours before the town common use application actually just received today, and so that was
You
put
added
on
that to-
today outside to the posting, and then
Because of the holiday, it had to be posted last Tuesday.
Okay.
Thanks for that information.
Mhm.
It had to be posted last Tuesday.
a little technical, but
Would you?
That is
email?
what we live with. Would I do what?
Oh, nothing, I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead, sorry.
Okay. Public comment. Any public comment? Now, what would you want to ask before we talk about the next select board meeting?
I'm still ahead.
You're still ahead? Okay. All right, so our next meeting's the 15th. We know one of the big things we're going to talk about is broadband. The 29th will be all comparing who got the grooviest Christmas gifts.
Our select board meeting in January the first one is the 12th though, right? I wanted to make sure I didn't know if
Oh.
we skipped a,
Okay.
No, we did not.
I mean, we have the
We'll have a
personnel
meeting on-
boards, I know, but you're gonna get back to
and
us
you'll
on
have a
that.
meeting on the 25th.
But it's the 12th and the 26th,
No, sorry.
every other
Right.
week.
Yep.
And then in February, every week,
Every week.
alternating with
We'll find.
budget.
All right. So
And-
would I entertain what?
A motion to adjourn.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is
I'll
there-
second that.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure if there would be a second, but there is. Any discussion, long discussion? See where we fit it into our calendars or anything? All right. Huh?
And I have discussion on a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. At 9:10.
Pass that to the gentleman over there. He's not gonna like it. Pass it to him. Just pass it to him. It's for information.
I want to. It is